Steering wheel holders in trucking. Hey man, what really makes a steering wheel holder? You know, a lot of people these days, or you know, you got a lot of new drivers coming in, and a lot of people are being forced to learn how to drive automatic and being restricted from driving stick shift or learning how to drive a manual. And you know, you got veteran drivers, you know, who feel like they just churning out a whole bunch of steering wheel holders. Now, me personally, you know, I don't really, you know, I'm not gonna call you a steering wheel holder because you was forced to drive an automatic. But I do say restricting people from the experience of learning how to drive a stick shift, man, I think that's one of the major components about learning how to drive a truck. You know, that experience, man, because learning and perfecting and getting comfortable with driving a stick shift, that's all part of the process, man, in building a relationship with your truck, or building a relationship with a truck, learning how to drive that stick shift. And, you know, it's a very sentimental part of trucking that they taking out. But, you know, I guess you can't whine about it, man. Technology gonna keep advancing, and it's affecting everything, even trucking. But I'm so glad that I came in when they were still training people on how to, you know, drive a stick shift. And I could be, you know, straight up, I'll never buy automatic, never. Stick shift forever for me. For as long as I'm in trucking, stick, period. But you know, just because you know, you might be forced to learn how to drive an automatic, from my opinion, you know, just because you're forced to drive an automatic and you restricted from stick shift, it don't necessarily make you a steering wheel holder, because it is much more to trucking than just sitting in the seat driving. You know, even now, man, with me pulling liquid tankers, I had to learn I had to readjust to learn how to shift gears pulling tankers with liquid in it, because it's a different ball game, because you got that liquid moving, and liquid is surging back and forth. And if you ain't never realized that your truck be jerking when you be shifting gears, you will realize it when you pulling the tanker, because them little jerks that you don't realize is happening is sending vibrations through to and through the trailer, and sending waves and making that liquid move back and forth. You know what I'm saying? To the point to where when you shift wrong, or you don't shift in a sweet spot, that liquid will surge back and come forward, and it'll feel like something is hitting the back of your truck. Boom! Yeah. It took me a little minute to get adjusted to pulling these tankers, you know what I'm saying? And all the time, you can't, you know, sometimes you can't stop that surge. But from the time that I started to now, I found my sweet spot and how to shift, you know, especially going up and down mountains, or especially going up inclines, because a lot of times you're going up the incline and that liquid is going back and forth. Most of the time, if you're going up the incline, the liquid is going back. So it's pulling all that weight is pulling the truck back. So as the weight is pulling on the truck with that liquid going back, your miles per hour is going down, your RPM is going down fast, and then you trying to go into a lower gear, you missing gears. Shit that happened to me a couple times. Missed the gears so much that the truck, you know, trying to catch the gears with the clutch, truck cut off on me. Right on the mountain, right on the incline. So now I got to set the brakes, you know what I'm saying, turn the key to the left, then turn it back to the right, let it cycle, and cut the truck back on, and then, you know, start off pulling back up the incline in the first gear. Yeah. That had happened to me a couple times, you know. Now, smooth. But yeah, that's a part of just building a relationship with your truck, man, learning that stick shift. And I've definitely built a relationship with my truck, man, because that stick shift, I feel like I got more control with the stick shift. So, I mean, you know, people talk about pros and cons with stick shift and with the automatic, but they say, like, what is it? Automatic more fuel efficient? I ain't worried about that. I'll spend a couple more extra couple dollars. Stick with the stick shift. I'm good. But yeah, man, there's more things that'll make a person a steering wheel holder. You know, just not caring about what you're doing. Not practicing proper etiquette out here on the road. Not knowing, you know what I'm saying, knowing and understanding the equipment that you drive. And now that's a give and take, because as a company driver, you know, all you really got to do is drive for the most part. You know, anything that got to be fixed, truck breakdown, company taking care of that. But there are things that a company driver can do to keep things convenient and keep things comfortable for you. You know, something as simple, you know, like your belts might snap on your truck. And to me, so far, that's one of the easiest things that you can do on that engine is change your serpentine belts. It's very easy, but people don't know, you know what I'm saying, they not even finna do it. So most of the time, let's just say if you broke down and your belt snapped and you're on the side of the road, you're trying to get to the money though. If you knew how to do it yourself, it'd take you probably what, your first time doing it, 45 minutes to an hour maybe, you know what I'm saying, especially if you already had belts for you and, you know, had you a decent tool set. You can do this shit yourself and keep it pushing. But when you a company driver and something like that happen and you don't have no clue, now you got to call the job, call the company, and they got to call roadside service, and you got to wait for them, you know what I'm saying? And now your money and your time is messed up. You know what I'm saying? When that's something that you possibly could have did yourself. But as a company driver, you know, I'll admit it, I wouldn't worry about no shit like that. You know, to a high degree, I look back from where I'm at now to where I was as a company driver. Yeah, in a lot of aspects, I was a steering wheel holder, for sure. For sure, because I didn't know the equipment that I was driving. I didn't even know what type of engine that I was driving. You know what I'm saying? I didn't really start looking into like the type of engine that I was driving until probably like a year before I became an owner op. Then I started doing a little research, and then, you know, when I was company, the last truck that I had, it was a DD15 Freightliner. But all the time I was company, man, I never cared about none of that other shit, man. I barely even did pre-trips, just to keep it honest with you. Every once in a while, that's something that they said early on too, that I heard, you know, truckers don't really do no pre-trips like that. And being in and out of truck stops for almost 8 years, it's true. I don't really see nobody doing no pre-trips. I mean, you will see people doing pre-trips, but not. You will see more people not doing pre-trips than you would see people doing pre-trips. That's a fact. Just pay attention. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, like I said, I didn't know the equipment. I ain't really had no tools. It's like, it's the company vehicle. All I got to do is just drive. You know, now I will cut myself some slack to take a little bit of weight off my back of being a complete steering wheel holder, because some of the things that you know, I did that made me a decent trucker. You know what I'm saying? I embraced the lifestyle. I actually cared about safety, you know, besides my little fender benders when I first got into the industry. But I actually cared about being safe and driving correctly, caring about etiquette, caring about, you know, etiquette amongst other drivers and in the fuel stops, fuel line, and all that different type of stuff. You know, I never parked my truck in a fuel island and went in and took a shower. You know, when I'm done fueling, I pull my truck up and get out the way. You know, that type of stuff. You know, I actually cared about being where I needed to be on time when I needed to be there. You know, so yeah, I embraced the lifestyle totally. But as far as the mechanics and being mechanically inclined and having tools and being able to do little shit yourself in a truck, hell no. Hell no. And the reason that I can see that now, when I look back, because being responsible for my own truck has forced me to get my hands dirty. It's forced me to get my hands dirty, and I can say that I've definitely graduated from being a steering wheel holder. I'm not a steering wheel holder. Not no more. Hell no. Yeah, we way past that. But I can look back and reflect and keep it real. Like, damn, to a high degree, I was a steering wheel holder because I didn't know shit. I didn't know nothing about my equipment that I was driving. But I always practice etiquette. One story of real etiquette, man, and just this moment was something that really made me appreciate trucking. It made me, it was something, and this moment happened when I was a rookie. And it kind of was like, how can I say? It was like a moment of excitement that made me that made me want to dig in deeper into this industry. You know what I'm saying? How can I explain it? It was just a moment that had me geeked to be a trucker and what was to come in my future and what I was growing to be a part of. So one time I was in the South. I can't remember exactly where I was, but I was somewhere on the interstate, somewhere in the South. And, you know, 2-lane highway. So I'm in the right lane, police up the road, they got somebody pulled over. And on my left, behind me, it's a Pete. I can't remember if it was a 389, 379, but it definitely was a long-nosed hog. It's coming up. Now, as I'm seeing this Pete coming up, I'm expecting him to blow my doors off because coming into the industry, just the image that the Pete's gave off, you know, Pete's be blowing doors off, especially when I was working for Swift, being governed at 62 miles per hour. And then just the image, you know, of seeing Pete's come, you know, you parked in the truck stop, and especially like when I was in training, especially, you know, we sitting in the truck stop, seeing them Pete's come in and out the truck stop, man, just the way they was just pulling in. Like, you see all the other trucks, even the new trucks at that time, you know, yeah, but when them Pete's pulled in the truck stop, man, them long-nosed hogs, just the way they was looking, like, move, get out my way. Move, everybody, move, get out the way. That's just how they came. That was just their presence. You know, that was just the presence that they held, man. So this Pete that's in back of me on the left lane, I'm expecting him to do this same thing. Move, get out my way, I'm finna blow your doors off. But no, he seen what the play was. He slowed down, flicked his lights. I got in the left lane. We both passed up the police. I got back in the right. And, you know, as he about to pass me up, because, of course, he's about to blow my doors off. But as he passed me up, you know, I looked his way, you know, pumped a fist to him. And I couldn't see who was driving the truck or what they looked like or what the nationality was. But I just remember it was a person sitting in that truck or sitting in that Pete. I'm talking about like he was riding in a lack. Like a little man in a lack. That's just the way he was sitting in the truck. Low key in the seat with the high stick shift. And I just remember, man, whoever that was driving, as he was riding past, you know what I'm saying? He was throwing up the deuces with his hands on the top of that stick shift riding by. Man, that shit had me so geeked. That shit was so hard to me. That shit was so hard. That shit was like, you know, growing up in whatever neighborhood that you growing up in, and you know, the older cats, you might, you know, people with money, little status, you know, you see them ride by, they ride clean, they tap the horn at you, throw the deuces up at you. That's what that was like, you know. And moments like that made me want to peep. Yeah, moments like that made me want to peep. For sure. That was so G to me, the way he just just blowing my doors off, but throwing up the deuces at the same time. That was real cool, man. That was a great example of etiquette. But nowadays, man, a lot of people, they won't even, a lot of these drivers don't care. Steering wheel holder shit. They do not care. A lot of these drivers are the same way he seen the play, what was going on. A lot of these drivers don't care. They will pass you up and stay on your left side while you in the right lane passing up the police. You know what I'm saying? You got a lot of drivers that be doing that today. And you know, either they just don't care or there's just some steering wheel holder shit to me. But yeah, that was real etiquette. So yeah, definitely far from a steering wheel holder, man. Things that I'm interested in now, I was never interested in when I was a company driver, man. Never knew nothing about engines. Couldn't understand, like, how, you know, I thought all these engines was the same. You know what I'm saying? Completely ignorant. Well, yeah, I like the 60 series 12.7 liter. Well, I like the DD15. Well, I like that Cat 30. I think it's a, what is it, 3053 or 3064E or some shit like that. You know how people just, you know, the IXX coming, just how people be talking about engines and shit like that. Man, I had no idea what people was talking about. And how, you know what I'm saying? How do you figure out which engine that you like? How do you say you love this engine? Like, I never understood that. Gotta keep this hood on, man. I ain't right today. You know what I'm saying? I gotta get my hat braided this weekend, so we gonna keep the hood on. But yeah, man, I ain't know nothing about what people was talking about. Nothing. But it's funny, man, once you really out here, man, for a while and, you know, really going on your journey, man. As far as like that, like in the last video that I made, you know, I was talking about finding my identity. I think I found my identity in Detroit's. That's all I've really been driving. The Detroit engine is the first engine I ever learned how to work on. I can say thus far, you know what I'm saying, this DD15, besides the after treatment system problems, this DD15, man, it's been reliable. You know what I'm saying? I think my identity is aligned with Detroit's. You know what I'm saying? That's all it's gonna be for me. That's all it's gonna be for me. Straight Detroit. So yeah, I see my little IQ with trucking equipment and mechanics are starting to go up. You know, I still don't know shit, but I'm learning and it's becoming more and more interesting. Like, I had recently took my truck to the shop to get a PM. What was it, last week? So I'm talking to my mechanic, telling him like, yeah, man, you know, I already had knocked out the one box or whatnot. And I'm like, the next big thing that I'm looking towards is getting an end frame or overhaul or whatnot. And he was like, well, you know, you ain't even touched 750,000 miles, so you still got time. You know, a lot of these DD15 engines, you know, you take care of them, you know, you can get to 1 million miles plus, you know, before you even have to worry about doing anything with the engine. But he was like, you know, but one thing you could look into is replacing your rods and your mains. You know, your rod seals and your main seals. Basically, those are seals that have to do with the crankshaft. I think like they at the bottom of the crankshaft. Like, they have to take the oil pan off to get to it. Now, when he told me about the rods and mains, I'm listening to him, but I still can't really visualize. Like, okay, he mentioned the crankshaft, so I'm thinking rod is like a stick. You know what I'm saying? No, they not sticks. They like half moon metal pieces. You know what I'm saying? I think it's the rod, what is it? Did I say rod mains? I meant to say rod bearings, if I'm saying that right. See, I'm still learning, man. Please forgive me. But the people who know that, y'all know what I'm talking about. So when he told me about it, I couldn't really visualize it. So I went to YouTube, went right to Francisco Amaya's channel. He's become one of my favorite channels. For owner operators, he one of the channels you need to be looking at, but he happened to be replacing rods and mains on the DD15. So now I see what they look like. So I'm like, oh, okay. And the way he was doing it, you know what I'm saying? I could probably do rods and mains myself, but I ain't fucking with it. I'm gonna let the mechanic do it. I'm gonna let the mechanic do it. But it don't, if I was forced to do it, I probably could do it, but I don't know, man. I would have to have something possibly to lift the truck up or pull the truck up on a curb, something. But as far as getting and changing the rods and the mains, it's not really hard. It can be tedious, but it's not. I'm at the point now, man. Anything I put my mind to, I think I can do it. You know what I'm saying? Because most of this shit on these trucks, man, besides like really diagnosing a serious problem, taking the engine out, most of this stuff, man, is just really just replacing parts. It's just replacing parts. Most of this stuff. But yeah, man. So, you know, me personally, man, I don't hold nothing against the people that you know, drive automatic, man. You know, to me, that don't necessarily make you a steering wheel holder, but not caring, not practicing, you know, proper etiquette out here on the road, to me, those are things that make you a steering wheel holder. You know, now that I've been an owner operator, I do my pre-trips all the time. Yeah, I definitely do pre-trips all the time. When I was a company, I didn't do it. You know, you should do it. It would help you in the long run because you might be able to catch something that you can get solved before you pull off and get stuck. But at the same time, all I can do is suggest. I can't really preach too much because I was a steering wheel holder to a certain degree. Like I said, man, the only thing that didn't make me a complete steering wheel holder because I embraced the lifestyle. I actually cared about my driving and cared about what I was doing. But as far as like really understanding the equipment and knowing this and that, hell no. I ain't even gonna hold you up. So yeah, steering wheel holders in trucking. Don't be one. If you chose to do this, take pride in what you do. Take pride in what you do, man. It'll work out better for you in the long run. But that's all I got, man. Vonnie, you see another trucker. Easy.